Morning, peeps. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. All right, let's see what there's to talk about from the world of boxing today. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget as well to like and share the vids. Happy New Year to you as well. Charles Martin is fighting this week against Luis Ortiz, isn't it? I'm sure it's this Saturday, Let's have a quick check. And I think it's a pretty decent card as well. I think it's pay-per-view in America, which is a bit rich, but it is what it is. Yeah, this weekend, Charles Martin versus Luis Ortiz. I've not checked the card. Let's check the card. I think it's a heavyweight card. Luis Ortiz, Charles Martin, good fight, by the way. That's a very, very good fight. I like it a lot. Jonathan Rice versus Michael Coffey. Gerald Washington versus Demirizian. Who else is on there? No. Okay. Oh, okay. Pending approval for some reason. Frank Sanchez versus Christian Hamer. Why is that pending approval? Don't know. I wonder if they're struggling to get Christian Hamer a license to fight. But it's a decent fight card. Decent fight card. I'm going to watch it. Am I? Actually, I'm not quite sure. I might be out New Year's Eve. But we're not doing a live watch along of it. But yeah, I probably will watch it. But decent card. All right, let's see if there's any boxing news. Bob Arum feels Canelo would aim for Joe Smith first than Bertabiev. I think he's more likely to want to fight Dimitri Bivol first. Who's better, Joe Smith, Dimitri Bivol? Bivol's better, actually, but I think he's more likely to go for Bivol. Bivol's a smaller light heavy. Like Bivol's 100% said he can make 168. Joe Smith would kill himself to make 168. And I think there's still... I think Joe Smith can just crack a bit, I think Joe Smith's got a bit of an equaliser. I don't know if Bivol's got a punch. Bivol's a good boxer, very good boxer. But I think there's a big danger element with Joe Smith that's not there with Bivol. Bivol will outbox you, and I think Canelo eventually could get to him. But Joe Smith at any time could unleash hell. Honestly, that's why that Joe Smith-Callum Johnson fight is literally, don't blink. Anything could happen in that fight. But look, there's a lot of talk now about Canelo staying at 175 after his cruiserweight fight with Macaulay. So I say staying at, going down to 175. I think that will be the case. I don't think he's going down to 168 again. Because of the size he's going to have to put on, he's going to have to pack on some extra muscle to go to cruiser to kind of get rid of that. And we've seen fighters do that and then they don't look better when they come back down. So I think he will stay at 175. And look, it's going to be a title fight next. It's going to be. We'll see. We'll wait and see who has the belts then. I think Beterbiev will still have his. Will Bivol have his? I think they are trying to line up a Bivol versus Boatsy fight. Will Joe Smith have ease? If Callum Johnson hits him clean, I think Callum Johnson could knock out any light heavyweight if he lands clean. So, look, we'll see. Charles Martin feels he would have shocked Wilder. He lacks in a lot of areas. Don't know about that. As much as people say what you want about Deontay Wilder, if it wasn't for Tyson Fury in this era, Deontay Wilder could have been the best heavyweight. Could have been. I know there's still an AJ thing. There's definitely an Usyk thing. But I think Deontay Wilder, there was a time when I thought AJ would have knocked out Wilder. I do think it's the other way around now. I think Wilder would have knocked out AJ. I do. Wilder definitely would have knocked out Charles Martin, would have knocked out Dillian Whyte. Usyk's the one. Like, I genuinely thought when they fought first time around, Wilder, I thought Ortiz was going to beat him. And Wilder showed a lot of heart in that fight. He's got a lot of heart. Yes, his boxing ability isn't the best, but when you can hit the way he can hit, and he can hit like that, there's no two ways. We saw it in the fight against Fury. This guy can crack, like really crack. Fury just has these powers of recovery that I don't think the others have. AJ doesn't have those powers of recovery, I don't think. We've seen Dillian Whyte get stopped already. So yeah, as much as people now might say things like, oh, Charles Martin could have beaten him, or Charles Martin saying it, or Usyk and AJ, I don't know about that. So I think Charles Martin's wrong here. I think Wilder would have put him to sleep, really put him to sleep. It'd be interesting to see what Wilder does next, by the way, if he does come back. I mean, he has sort of hinted at possible retirement, and it's not a bad shout. It's not a bad shout. I don't think there's any much to prove. I mean, there's still a lot of money on the table, but health is wealth, people, and he took a lot of damage in those Fury fights. A lot of damage. Like, way too much damage for my liking. Sticking with this Fury situation, let's talk about Bob Arum and his comments regarding the Dillian Whyte Fury fight. He's come out and said that Dillian Whyte's team and I think it's important to say Dillian Whyte's team, not Dillian Whyte per se, want 10 million. Now, a lot of people immediately, I've seen Twitter's, you know what Twitter's like. Twitter's a crazy place. A lot of people are like, oh, Dillian Whyte ducking the fight. He wants this amount of money, that amount of money. It's not Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte wants to fight. It's his team. He's got a team around him, a team of management, and they will then go to the table and bat for him and say, this is how much Dillian Whyte deserves to be paid, blah, 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 blah. Dillian Whyte, I'm telling you now, just wants to fight. Obviously, he's got his team that he instructs to go out there and get as much money for him as possible. Why not, right? It's the fucking fight game. Get as much money as you can. And maybe they've overpriced it. I don't know. Maybe they feel like this is Dillian Whyte's value. But yeah, this is what's come out. Dillian Whyte wants 10 million. Bob Arum feels like that's ridiculous, that Tyson Fury is the big A side in this. I agree with that. I think Tyson Fury is the big A side. Dillian Whyte's not he's not a small B side. It's not like he's a nobody, especially if the fight's in the UK. If the fight's in America, then just the American audience won't know who Dillian Whyte is. But over in the UK, obviously, we all know who Dillian Whyte is. So in the UK, Dillian Whyte is a very, very, very strong B side, and it's probably worth a lot of money. 10 million? No, I don't think so. I don't think there's that much money in the pot here. In America, I agree with Bob. He's not worth the same amount, put it that way. He's not worth a lot at all. Dillian Whyte's going to have an issue here because obviously, look, he was screaming, or has been screaming for a world title fight. Obviously, the WBC situation. The WBC have ruled in his favour, although the arbitration is still ongoing. Behind the scenes, they've ruled in his favour. They have said that Tyson Fury should fight him. So he's been screaming for a shot. He's got it here. Let's not forget he had it a couple of years ago as well when AJ was going to fight Wilder. That all fell off. Do you remember all this? It's weird. Everyone seems to forget that. And Dillian Whyte was the second option, but Dillian Whyte was moaning about something in the rematch clause. You forget, fuck all the rematch clause. Just get your fight. So he had an opportunity there. Now he's got an opportunity here. And for whatever reasons, A, rematch clause, B, pricing yourself out. It's like he and his team are not taking the opportunity to fight for a world title fight. Again, everyone's been screaming like Dillian Whyte deserves it. Even me, I've gone on board. Like Dillian Whyte giving me a shot. He's got his shot. Again, get paid, know your worth and get your money, but don't risk out, don't lose out on this. Don't lose out on this because I've said for a while that, it's Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury wants, to fight someone else. It looks like Tyson Fury wants to fight Dillian Whyte now. He's open to fighting him, but just not open to agreeing to 10 million or I don't know what the percentage was or the split of that, 35%, 40% maybe. Again, I don't think there's that much money in the purse in this one. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. Hopefully, they can come to some sort of agreement here. Hopefully, they can kind of lower their fee or whatever they want for Dillian Whyte down a little bit because I think Dillian Whyte will regret this. If Dillian Whyte doesn't take this opportunity, then there's a huge problem. What will happen is this. If he doesn't take the opportunity and Tyson Fury fights X, Y, and Z, there is a very good chance that Tyson Fury will eventually be elevated to franchise champion and Dillian Whyte will have to fight, I fucking don't know, Joe Joyce or Hrgovic for a world title. And yes, it's a world title fight, but that's way less money and they are fucking nightmare fights for him. Stylistically, both of those guys, for me, are nightmares. Although I think Fury would beat Dillian Whyte. It's a big fight. It's Tyson Fury. Yes, you might lose, but you're losing to Tyson Fury. You're losing to the #1 heavyweight on the planet. One of the best heavyweights probably ever. So there's no shame in that. There's a big problem if you're losing to Joe Joyce or Hrgovic. There is a big problem. So if I'm Dillian Whyte and his team, and look, who am I? I don't know how the finances of boxing work. But if I'm Dillian Whyte and his team, you maybe have a look at what you're doing here. You maybe have a look because you can't keep screaming for a world title shot, apologies, and then maybe price yourself out of it. You can't. I've always said, if you're that confident on the win, and look, it's difficult for me sitting here. I'm not getting in the ring and getting bashed up. But if you're that confident in the win, I've said this when people fight Canelo, if you're that confident, win, and in the rematch, it's the lottery. It's the lottery in the rematch because you will get a rematch. If you win, you're going to get a rematch. Look at Andy Ruiz. Andrew Ruiz beat AJ. He made good money in the first fight of AJ. He made incredible money the second time round. Incredible money. Shocked the world, incredible money. Anyone that beats Canelo first time round is going to make ridiculous money second time round. So if Whyte is that confident, beat Fury. Take half of it. Take 5 million, knowing that in the rematch, you're fucking making 20. Because the rematch will be gigantic. It will be. So you do wonder sometimes about the confidence the underdogs have in winning the fights. It's almost like they want the big paycheck straight away because they're not confident they'll win. Because again, you win, you get a rematch. That's fact. The problem for Dillian Whyte is Tyson Fury, Bob Arum, they've got great options. They've got great options. If Dillian Whyte doesn't work out, then fine. You know, they've mentioned Andy Ruiz and they mentioned Helenius. I love both of those fights. I love both. I think Andy Ruiz is a fantastic fight. You can sell it as well. Big fight in America. Andy Ruiz versus Tyson Fury is a massive fight. Do I think that's going to happen? With Andy Ruiz coming off that lackluster performance against Ariola and then subsequently having an injury? No. Helenius could, though. Helenius in the UK, is it a massive, massive fight? No, but it's Tyson Fury. I mean, Tyson Fury himself's a massive draw now. And I thought Helenius looked really good against Helnacki twice. This is a much better version of Helenius. A massive guy as well. Who knows? Look, Tyson Fury to me is too sharp, too fast-footed, too everything for Helenius, whereas Helnacki was a bit ploddy and Helenius was able to pick him off for some really good stinging shots. He won't be able to do it against Fury. But look, those are good options. And that's the problem that Dillian Whyte has right now, is that Fury has good options. And I don't think the belt means much to Fury. Like, Fury would do a Riddick bow and chuck that belt in the bin. Fury's always been about the lineal and the ring. And he's got both of those. He's the lineal champion, he's got the ring belt. That's what he cares about the most. And obviously that. Not necessarily the WBC. And for Dillian Whyte, yes, you want to be world champion, but you want it in a fight against a notable opponent. So you want to go in there against the number one heavyweight in the world. You do not want to go in there. Do not, I repeat, do not want to go in there against Joe Joyce or Filip Hrgović. Nightmare opponents for him. So you will see how this one plays out. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But I think it's likely now that we won't see Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte. I think we are going to see, I think of all those opponents I've just mentioned, I think it's more likely Tyson Fury Helenius. I don't think Andy Ruiz will fight, well, he fought AJ, which surprised a lot of people when he stepped up. But I don't think he'll fight Tyson Fury. I just don't think he'll do it, especially not after coming back from injury. I'll be shocked. All right, let's quickly see what we've got before we wrap up, because I really just wanted to focus on that one. Jake Paul, I can't believe him. Jake Paul seeks 7-month break. Will focus on delivering Serrano-Taylor fight. Yes, Eddie Hearn is sitting down talking to Jake Paul. How crazy is this? Like, say what you want about Jake Paul. Jake Paul now is the voice, the leading voice in Serrano's camp to make the Serrano-Taylor fight. Jake Paul will be having discussions on the phone, face-to-face, with Eddie Hearn. This come up is incredible. It's incredible. But yeah, look, they are trying to make the Serrano-Taylor fight for April, I think it is, in Madison Square Garden. Biggest female fight of all time, some are saying. Although I'm not sure about that. I'll tell you what fight was really massive. Layla Ali, when she fought Frazier's daughter. That was huge. Don't know if you guys remember that. I don't know how old a lot of you are watching this, but that was massive. Massive. So I don't think this is the biggest female fight of all time. In terms of belts on the line and accolades, yeah, but in terms of just sort of media interest, obviously nothing's going to beat Ali and Frazier's daughters fighting. Nothing. Keith Thurman wants title shot in summer 2022. It's Ugas, Spence or Crawford. Let's see him get past Barrios first. Let's see how Thurman looks. Thurman, for me, is no longer interested in actually fighting. I don't think so. I think for now it's definitely a money thing. I think Thurman's not been interested in fighting for a while. Thurman's been, even when Thurman was active, he was inactive. Like, Thurman was a once-a-year guy. So he was part-time fighter when he was even sort of coming towards the end, if that makes any sense. Let me have a quickly bring up his record. Am I spitting facts here, or am I just chatting doo-doo? I think I'm spitting facts, but wouldn't be shocked if I've got this wrong. All right, so yeah, so okay. So this is, obviously, so he fought Manny Pacquiao 2019, July. Prior to that, he fought in January of 2019 against Josecito Lopez. Didn't look good in that fight at all, by the way. Didn't look good at all. Prior to that, Danny Garcia in 2017, so one fight. Prior to that, Sean Porter in 2016, one fight. And then 2 fights in 2015, 2 fights in 2014. Do you know, he's not... So yeah, I hold your horses is what I'm saying about Keith Thurman talking about Ugas, Spence or Crawford. Let's just see how he looks against Barrios. I don't expect him to look good at all. I really don't. I think Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. A good fight that we should look forward to in a couple of weeks' time. Tony Yoka versus Martin Macaulay. I think that's going to be a really good fight. There was talks about postponing the actual card just because of the COVID situation, but what they're going to do is have a lower crowd in there, so the fight still goes ahead January the 15th. Should be a good one. It's the step up I've been waiting for Tony Yoka. I think Macaulay is a top 25 guy, and I think Yoka's going to look really good against him. I really do. I expect him to beat Macaulay and beat him convincingly. I like Macaulay, but I think Yoka, it's taken a while for him to really start to kick into gear into the pro game. He's had his issues. Let's not forget he was banned for missing 3 drug tests for a year, I think he was. So he's had a bit of a stop-start career, but I think he's there now, so we'll see. A bit here, Bob Arum slams Whyte demands for Fury Whyte, now considering Ruiz, Helenius as opponents. I spoke about it before. We'll see. Reactpor focused on world title goal, watching Canelo Macaulay situation closely. A lot of these guys will be excited about Canelo going up to cruiserweight. If you're a cruiserweight right now, I mean, it's red panty day. You're hoping you've got the opportunity, but again, I don't expect Canelo to stay there. He will go there. He will fight, win or lose, and he's more likely to win. He will not stay at cruiserweight. He'll come back down, and rightly so. He's not a cruiserweight. I mean, this is a guy that, really and truly, if he had a dietitian, like probably has got one, but what I'm trying to say is, if he killed himself, he'd make 160, let alone fighting at cruiserweight. So, although those, Coley's spoken about it as well, everyone's watching the situation, there's no point watching it, he is coming back down because Lawrence Okolie and Reactpor are the land of the giants for him. So, yeah. 2 secs. Lawrence Okolie return eyed for February 27th. It was weird because it looked like there was some legs in this Bradis fight. It really did. I remember the Sauerlands talking about it, and I think they sent a couple of pictures and said, would you come over here and fight in front of this crowd? And Lawrence Okolie was like, yeah, I'll get over there now. And it's all gone dead now. It's all gone quiet. And I think Lawrence has been frustrated as well. He's tweeted a couple of things like, why is it so difficult to get a title fight? Like, sign me up. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but we'll see. We'll see. There aren't that many big names for him to fight at cruiserweight. So this could be the reason he might rush to heavy. I still think there's some work. Obviously, there is some work to do at cruiser. Canelo coming in and taking the Makabu fight has fucked things up for him as well, because I think that's a fight that Lawrence would have liked. A chance to kind of unify the division. Now he has to wait and see what Canelo does. This is the problem. Once Canelo enters the division, you literally are waiting for the outcome of it, because he will take all eyes, and rightly so, on him. But yeah, Lawrence, February 27th, not quite sure what card that is, but he's back. Katie Taylor, interesting words here. Conor McGregor is Muhammad Ali of UFC, isn't celebrated much in Ireland. Interesting, because I speak to, and I work with a few Irish people, and there was a time when Conor was, I thought, the king of Ireland. Honestly, I hope I don't sound disrespectful to any Irish people watching, but I think his actions out of the ring, and maybe his actions in the ring, obviously he's not been active, he's lost a couple, and the way in which he's handled the defeats as well, he's really started to lose fans, I think, Conor. I mean, I loved, 5 years ago, I couldn't get enough of Conor McGregor. But seeing what he's been doing outside the ring, I think I was a bit soured the way in which he kind of handled the build-up to the Khabib Nurmagomedov fight. I didn't like that. Dustin Poirier the second time round, talking about Dustin's wife sliding these DMs. There's so many videos and clips I've seen of him, viral clips. And I don't necessarily care about people's life outside the octagon or the ring, but he looks like he's high on something and not alcohol most of the time. So I fully understand why he isn't celebrated as much in Ireland, just because I don't think they like that behaviour. Again, they loved him when he was coming through. He was funny, he was jokey. Now, though, there just seems to be one drama after the other. So you get the drama after the other, and then you don't get the fight. So he's not fighting, he's causing problems, and when he is fighting, he's losing. You can understand how he's lost some fans. You can understand. Pro Grey on recent Mikey Garcia loss. I was the biggest loser. I would have destroyed Mikey. I don't know about destroyed Mikey, but yeah, a lot of people lost. It wasn't, obviously, Pro Grey Mikey would have been a big fight. Josh Taylor Mikey would have been a big fight. A lot of people lost. I do wonder if Mikey Garcia is going to have that rematch with Sandor Martin or just move on and ignore it. But yeah, it was a bad defeat for Mikey. That was probably, in terms of odds, because immediately when people talk biggest upset of 2021, immediately people's mind goes to Teofimo Lopez Kambosos. That was not the biggest upset. It was a big one, but it wasn't. In terms of odds, this would have been right up there, because Mikey would have been a massive favourite. Another one, Lara Warrington, Kiko Kid Galahad. Those probably are the biggest upsets. But yeah, big loss for everyone. Last couple of bits here, peeps. Golovkin Murata to be rescheduled for March, April, says Eddie Hearn. I do wonder if it happens in Japan. I guess, look, we've got to wait to see what happens. I was going to work on that event, which is a bit of a shame. I was so like, oh, this is exciting. And we were actually going to go, so the fight was going to be in Japan. And even though we knew Japan had closed the borders, we were going to do something from a studio in Germany. I say we, DAZN. And I was asked to go out there and do something. And yeah, I wonder where it's going to happen now. I'd love to go to Japan. I'd love to have one of these international fights. I feel like I've been so close to a couple, and then for whatever reason it hasn't happened. But it would be nice to do one. David Benavidez' coach slams Canelo. Fight us. Nobody wants to see Makabu. I think a few people want to see Makabu. Don't get me wrong. I think a lot of people in the States would like to see Benavidez, but Makabu is Canelo trying to become a 5-weight world champion. I mean, people want to see that. I mean, this is a guy now chasing history. I mean, all these other guys, almost create your own history. Go, like, force the, force the Canelo fight. See, like, Golovkin, it took so long for Golovkin to get the Canelo fight, but Golovkin almost forced it by public pressure. Golovkin was wrecking people, and it's like the crowd and media and everyone was like, we've got to see Canelo Golovkin. Everyone, it's like, it's a big thing. No one's screaming that we've got to see Benavidez Canelo. Make it happen. Force it. And the way you force it is if you get Charlo, you smash him. You know what I mean? Like, these are the things you got to do. Get Charlo, beat him. Demetrius Andrade, I'll fight you and smash him. And then everyone's like, oh my God, we've got to see Benavidez Canelo. Right now, yes, I want to see it. But I think I'm in a small minority. I think people want to see Makabu. I think people want to see it just because, again, Canelo's trying to do something that not many people in the history of the sport have done. All right, a few other bits and pieces, but I think that is it. What we got here, Usyk on being undisputed. It will be a very loud statement from me. Can't see it happening. Can't see it happening anytime soon. Joshua will fight Usyk. Well, I say can't see it happening. It could happen. Joshua will fight Usyk. Depending on what happens there. Fury will fight Helenius, Whyte or Ruiz. Fury's massive favourite for that. Usyk's the favourite on that side. It could happen. And it'll be a massive fight. Imagine that. Wembley Stadium in the summer. Imagine that. It won't be in the summer, will it? No, it'll probably be around September. So you might need a roof somewhere, but it'll still be quite hot in September. That'd be fantastic. All right, guys, I've got to go because I got to go talk sport. Peace and love.